Welcome to Las Colinas Golf Resort here in Spain. My name is Chris Ryan and welcome to video 3 in this 4-part video series helping you get rid of your slice for good. Videos 1 and 2 have covered the setup and the backswing. This video is going to be looking at some of the common traits in the downswing that I see from the slices out there, and we're going to help you improve those and get rid of that slice for good. Hi, and thanks for joining me here at Las Colinas Golf Resort in Spain. Welcome to video 3 in this 4-part video series helping you get rid of your slice forever. Videos 1 and 2 covered the starting position, what exactly causes a slice, and then some trends that I see in the backswing from the golfers who do slice the ball. Hopefully you've watched videos 1 and 2 already. You've tidied up a few of those things, which means we can now start to look at the downswing and some of the things that I see happening in the downswing, which again can create that ball flight. So in this video, we're going to be looking at club face and wrist angle. We're going to be looking at the shaft angle, and we're going to be looking at the shape that you have your body in as you approach the golf ball. We're then going to, in video 4, cover a little bit more about impact and some things that you can do in practice, which are going to help you start to change your delivery pattern and move towards a more draw ball flight. Doesn't mean you need to hit a draw, but we want to move more towards it if you're a slicer of the golf ball. So the first thing you're going to need in this video is a T-peg. Now I'm sure you've all got a T-peg, and I'm just going to place this T-peg into the back of my glove. So I've just popped it between the Velcro. And what that T-peg is now going to do is it's going to show me where the back of my hand points. So the back of my hand points to the ground, to the sky, towards the camera, etc, etc. Now, the back of the hand is going to pretty much reference the club face, because video 1, we made sure our grip was neutral. And if our grip is fairly neutral, the back of the hand will pretty much mirror where the club face is pointing. So wrist angles are basically controlling club face. Now, in video 2, we looked at controlling the wrist angles going back, but it would not be uncommon for a golfer to achieve a pretty good position at the top, but as they start to come down, they change those wrist angles as they start to pull too much on that handle. So when we get to this last parallel position here, you can see how as my golf club face points more towards the sky, so does the T-peg or the back of my hand. This is starting to put that cupping or that extension back in that lead wrist that we tried so hard to get away from in the previous video. So in this video, in the downswing, I really want you to feel that from the top of your golf swing, you are taking this T-peg, the back of your hand, and you are twisting it to point down to the ground as quickly and as early as you can. Now you can see where I've positioned the club face. If you were to do this and the club face was pointing this much down, you would hook that ball so far left. I still want you to try and do this, because the reality and the feel will not be the same. Even though you are trying to do this to the most that you can, it will not look like this. But we need you to try and feel like you rotate the back of the hand down towards the ground, which is going to control the club face. Just one thing to note. Notice how when I do that, it doesn't change the angle formed between the lead arm and the club shaft. I can rotate that T-peg down to the ground, but still maintain this angle. All too often I'll see golfers trying to rotate it by throwing the golf club away this way. Okay, ensure that we're trying to keep this angle, but we're just rotating that golf club down so it points at the ground. So the first little exercise that you can do is actually just what we've done there. You can take your starting position, you can go up to the top, and you can just practice returning the golf club to parallel with the T pointing what I feel is down to the ground, and you can see how that's controlled the club face. Similar to what we said in video 2, if my lead wrist is changing, my trail wrist is changing as well. So I'm feeling lots of bend in my trail wrist versus this position where my right wrist is very flat. I'm feeling lots of bend in my trail wrist. That's helping me control that club face. And ultimately, as we go through, getting the club face under control is absolutely key if we are to get rid of your slice. So drill number 1, T-peg is going to hopefully help you get that club face under control. The second thing we're going to look at here would be just how we use our trail arm and how that relates to the angle that the golf club is on through the downswing. Typical slices of the golf ball from the top will have the golf club starting to steepen far too quickly. And you can see how as I do this, the golf club gets a lot steeper. A steeper golf club does not always mean a club path to the left, but it greatly increases the chances of the club travelling left of target. So we really need to make sure that as we're starting our downswing, we're not allowing that club shaft to steepen too much. Many times that club face will steepen simply because the club face is open. So hopefully by videos 1, 2 and now number 3, you've got the club face under control. We now don't need that club shaft to steepen. So here's what I want you to think. I want you to feel like from the top, you are keeping your trail elbow lower than your right elbow as you start down. Typically, if the right arm or the right shoulder starts to rotate internally, that will steepen the club shaft, but it will also get that right elbow far too high relative to the lead elbow. So you can see from that front on camera there that as I start to steepen the club shaft, this elbow gets too high as we do that. So I want you to feel like from the top, you're letting the club head fall behind you as you get the right elbow working lower than the lead elbow. Just one point to note here, we're looking to do this move through that trail shoulder. I see lots of golfers when they're trying to shallow the golf club, they will do it through their shoulders, their body, and they will, yes, get the golf club into this shallower position, but it's at the cost of the body shape. So really try and feel it as you're doing this, you're maintaining the angles that you've got in your body. We're just trying to work this right elbow underneath the lead elbow by rotating externally this shoulder. As we do that, notice how I'm feeling like I let the club head fall behind me. And as I do that and I twist the golf club, we start to find we end up in this position where I've got the club face under control through my lead wrist, and notice where the club head is coming into the golf ball from relative to my hands. It's a lot more behind me. This is absolutely essential if we're to get rid of that slice. This is what we'd like you to rehearse versus what we tend to see, which is the face open and the club steepening through this trail elbow, right shoulder rotating internally too soon in the downswing. Initially, not a bad idea to actually just do that one-handed to give yourself the feel. So I can go up to the top here and I can just feel what it would be like to let that club fall behind me, rotate this shoulder externally, get the elbow working in front of me and lower, and then I can really start to feel how that's going to affect my delivery position, and then just how much it changes what my feels are going to be down at impact. When I do this little rehearsal with a golfer, they have incredibly different feelings from here through versus this position and through. They often feel for me, yes, I've got to jump, I've got to back up out the way, and that's very often what we have. That's what we hear these slicers say to us. You know, I feel like I get stuck in impact, I have to jump out the way. It's very often due to the fact that the club shaft is too steep in transition. So here's another little exercise you can do. You're going to take a golf club or an alignment stick or something along those lines, and you're going to angle it slightly out to the right of your target. So you can see how that's angled significantly to the right of my fairway down here on the 18th. And I'm going to make my backswing, and I'm going to control my wrist angles, control my right elbow, get the club shallowing, and I'm trying to match the two. So my lead wrist is controlling the club face, my right arm has controlled the club shaft delivery, and then from here I can just go ahead and swing through to a finish. And that is a really simple little exercise that you can do at the driving range. Really like that one because all you need is a golf club, an alignment stick, something on those lines, and you can work a little bit on your delivery. The last thing in this video is to look at how the body shape is changing through the downswing. We covered this a little bit in video 1 and also in video 2, looking at the rotation and the pivot. We do not want this upper body to be getting too far out in front of the lower body, because that starts to get this upper body tilted towards the target and it becomes very difficult to deliver the club efficiently from there. We would like to have what we call side bend in our downswing. Side bend, if you were to stand up dead straight, is very simply this movement. But we can also side bend to the left. We would like you to be side bending to the right as we swing through. So let me show you what that would look like in a golf swing. So as I go to the top and I start down, you can see how as I get myself to this last delivery point here, you can see how I've got some amount of side bend. By that we mean the belt buckle on my trousers is out in front of the zip or the buttons on my top. That's what we call side bend. Side bend is going to help us shallow the golf club and find a good delivery position. Very often the golfers who slice the ball will not have that side bend. They'll be too high in this right side. You can see how the zip or the buttons on my shirt have also almost outrun the ones on my belt. This golfer is often going to find they rotate, they back the hips up, they get very steep on the golf ball, they swing to the left, and again, these are just traits from the slicers that we see. So a great little exercise you can do here is take the golf club, place it across your zip and onto your belt buckle and start to just rehearse what it would be like to get that belt buckle to outrun the zip on your top. And you can see how I'm doing that there. The belt buckle is outrunning that, and as I start to rotate through, I can maintain that, and this is me creating some side bend, which is helping me get that club into a nice delivery position, which is going to help me shift my path more to the right. And it's also actually going to help me deliver the golf club with a more upward hit, which is not something we especially need here. We're just trying to get rid of the slice. But if we can start to change the attack angle as well, we can start to add in some distance. So we're not only to get rid of your slice, but we add in some distance as well. So let me go ahead and hit a drive, and then we'll have a little bit of a summary on what we've covered in this video. So 18th here at Las Colinas, par 5. There is a fair bit of trouble on the right, so I could do with a good drive, and certainly a slice is going to put me in more trouble than a hook on this hole. And that one's absolutely straight down the middle. Would not have that one back. Might not be able to get there in 2 today because it's a little bit into the wind, but certainly a good drive and certainly no slice. So in this video, we covered how you can control the club face with your lead wrist, how you can control the shaft angle with your trail arm, and then we looked at how you can use your body pivot to ensure that we get the club into a good delivery position. Those are the downswing things we're going to expect you to focus on. And video 4 is going to be looking at some drills that you can do in practice, which is going to help you get rid of that slice. Thank you very much for watching these first 3 videos. I hope they've been helpful. Stay tuned for video 4 coming soon on how you can fix your slice for good. Usual stuff is down below, comments box. There's a like button. There's also a link to subscribe over here. If you're not a subscriber, would love to have you part of my channel. And also massive thanks to Las Colinas Golf Course for having me out here for a few days.